All right, Peter, tell me a little bit about your GT-Four RC.
So what I have is a 1991 Celica GT-Four RC. They only made 5,000 in Japan. This is number 1172 of 5,000.
Nice.
But only 1,800 were sold in Japan, so the number gets even lower.
Nice, so this is pretty exclusive then.
It is pretty exclusive, yes.
Yeah.
But I've had it since last October. I had it imported from Japan. I was browsing the internet, and a buddy of mine in Texas ended up coming across this at an auction, and he posted it on his car importing webpage. So I came across it, and immediately I thought, Gran Turismo, I gotta have this, you know? So I found out a little bit about it on the inspection sheet. Has some bad history, but it also has some good history.
I mean, it's a homologation special. Somebody's going to be having some fun with it.
Exactly. Somebody was having some fun with it, you know, and I was really stuck on it, you know, and I kind of had to have it. So, you know, after about a month's debate on getting it, I decided to pull the trigger and buy it, you know, and it was about a month and a half wait for it to go from Japan to reach Texas.
That's pretty fast, considering, you know, some people will be waiting like half a year to get their import.
Yeah, it took a little bit of time, you know. Of course, when you're waiting for something, you know, that you're that excited for, it felt like it took forever.
And especially something you've never seen before, right?
Exactly. I bought this car sight unseen.
That's crazy.
So that's the scary part.
Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't do that.
But, my future plans for it, I do plan on doing some SCCA with it. So right now I'm kind of dialing in the suspension itself, changing out some standard bushings to poly, and just I really don't want to go aggressive with the motor. I want it for more handling.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the car was built for.
Honestly, a car that handles well is more fun.
Exactly. It really is. I want a car that'll take a corner,
yeah,
you know, rather than, you know, go 190 miles an hour down the freeway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that proves not just that you have a good car, but that you're a good driver if you know how to take the corners, hit the apexes, that kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. Let's take it for a drive.
All right.
Not too bad to get in this. I thought it was going to be lower.
It's not too low. I keep it at a decent height to maintain suspension abilities and flex.
And it's comfortable. I didn't think it would be so cozy. I thought it would be a little more, you know, a little more rough and tumble.
No, it's that's why I kept the factory seats in here. I wanted it to be enjoyable, you know, especially if I take it on a decently long trip.
Yeah, I didn't want to put those super hard Sparkos in.
Exactly.
Clutch has got a good feel to it. Not too hard, not too soft. It's so easy to turn. So I imagine once you actually get going on those SCCA courses, it's gonna whip right around the corners.
It's quite nimble for all-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's surprisingly smooth. Yeah, the suspension's a little stiff, but I mean that's what you want.
Exactly. With as wide as the tires are, if I soften it up too much, because I'm fitting the widest tires possible on this car, I tend to rub quite a bit. So I keep the suspension a little stiff, but still maintain a good feel.
So how do you do with the kilometers an hour on the gauge?
I know two numbers. 100 is about 62 miles an hour, and 120 is about 74. So I just maintain anywhere in between there on the freeway, and I'm good.
Makes a pretty good howl.
Yeah, it's not bad. You can hear a little bit of the turbo spool up.
So how do people ever drive these off-road? Well, you've changed the suspension all out.
Right.
So was the stock suspension, I guess since it was shot when you got to it, perhaps you don't know, but is the stock suspension on these pretty soft for off-road rally racing?
It was quite soft for off-road rally racing. It was comfortable, but it was too much on the soft side for my liking. Especially if I'm going to track it, I want to actually feel that the car is planted on the road, you know?
Yeah, if you're on asphalt, you really want to hunker down and grip the road there.
Exactly.
I'm actually not sure where we are now. I've taken so many turns, I think I lost. I got my phone if we need a GPS back.
Oh, we'll find our way back.
So how many other people have you seen with GT-Four RCs?
Most of the people I have met so far are in Canada and Japan, New Zealand, Ireland,
Okay.
Australia, places like that.
All the countries that can get them first.
Exactly. There's one for sale right now in the United States that was imported. It just sold for a little under $10,000. I don't know if the buyer actually purchased it, but that's the second one imported into the U.S. legally.
The second one in the U.S. So this is the first one in the U.S.
This was the first one in the U.S. legal.
Holy cow, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But hey, now that they're 25 years old and there's at least 2 in the U.S., we're probably going to start to see more.
I really hope to see more. I want to get a good group going of these RC, 185 enthusiasts. These Celicas are kind of the underdog. The Supra and MR2 always ruled the world back then, and these these Celicas were really unspoken for. The people just didn't really understand what they were built for.
I'd be surprised if anybody who had never played Gran Turismo knew what these cars were all about.
For the true enthusiast, the one that played Gran Turismo knew what these cars were all about, and that's the joy of it, is finding those hidden gems.
Okay, don't stop, that's cool. You see that guy a few minutes ago, he was in the passenger side of that car, he turned and looked, and his mouth was just,
He couldn't get enough of it, it was awesome.
This car's a real head turner. Not only, if you know what you're looking at, we're not ready for that gear. Not only if you know what you're looking at, but if you hadn't seen it, this is a real sharp looking car. It's not just a Celica by looks.
It was built to perform, and a lot of the looks on the car that Toyota designed,
they're functional.
They are functional, absolutely.
Yeah. It's not just a car with, vents slapped on the side that don't do anything. Yeah, so that's 75 kilometers an hour, which is like 45 or something.
Yeah, that's not. I don't spend a whole lot of time doing the conversion ratio. You just.
Yeah, it's not worth it. As an experienced driver, you know what feels right. Oh, shit.
Second gear?
Yeah, second. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, just trying to go down into fourth and through to gear low. At least I caught myself before I let the clutch all the way out.
I know. That probably would have been about 7,500.
I'm so sorry. I feel terrible about that.
Oh, it's all good, man. Don't even worry about it. I've grinded gears in this. It's a car. Things break.
Yeah, I just don't want to be the one to break them. So have you had a right-hand drive car before this?
I have, yes. I spent about 4 or 5 years building a right-hand drive Civic Coupe. Now, unfortunately, it was a conversion. It wasn't an original one.
Okay.
But I tried to bring it as original as I could, But it was a great car. I loved it. Built it, moved to Texas, enjoyed the heck out of it, and decided to part ways with it because I wanted to move on to something different. And that's when I really got focused in the Toyota world, and that's when I got my MR2. And those are definitely enthusiast cars as well.
So you had an MR2. Which generation?
I had a second generation MR2.
Second gen? Turbo, supercharged, or NA?
It was NA, but it was a beam swap. It was a red top beam swap.
Oh, weird.
So it was a beam swap out of the Celica ST205s.
Okay. Nice.
But it was, for an NA motor, it was stout. That motor would just, it'd wrap out to 8,000 RPMs all day long.
Yeah. Toyota builds really good engines. My Mark III MR2 had the 1ZZ in it stock, which isn't a great engine. But then I swapped it out for the 2ZZ out of a Celica GTS.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that engine was designed by Yamaha, and it wind up. I think it was about 7,500, and it was real healthy. It made a good sound. Manhole cover didn't like that.
Like I said, wide tires. You can only do so much if you want that grip.
You're just gonna smack everything on the road.
Exactly.
So this engine red line's at like 7350 or so.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
It's not right in the middle. I picked a weird number.
I think Toyota picked a weird number on that too.
I'm sure there's some engineering reason for that.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Actually, cool thing is, Yamaha built this motor for Toyota.
Just like the 2ZZ. Yeah, those are, Yamaha has a lot of engine building knowledge.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, the engines they make they're reliable, they make good power, they sound amazing.
Oh, they do sound amazing.
I read an opinion piece on why Yamaha builds such good motors. And people were saying, well, you know, even before Yamaha was building engines, they were building instruments.
Oh, yes, they were. They were building trumpets and guitars.
Yeah, so, you know, I think that might be why the cars sound so, or the engines sound so good. It's because they know about the acoustics and airflow through tubes, that kind of thing. And, you know, as weird of a correlation as it might be, I really think that's what, that makes sense to me.
It does make sense as to why the motors are so, you know, unique sounding and beautiful sounding. Nice little second gear pull.
Yeah, we can do that.
And the cool thing is, what Toyota designed with this car is it was really a boost by gear type of car.
Boost by gear.
I know.
What do you mean by that?
So, first gear, I'm only pushing, when I actually get on it, first gear on a launch, I'm only going to be pushing about 3 to 4 pounds of boost. Second gear, it bumps it up to about 4 to 5. Third gear, it does 6 to 8.
Weird. So they're just using fancy electronics to get that done, huh?
Exactly, yeah, just because they don't want to overload it with boost on first gear.
Yeah.
So the ECU is tuned to know which gear it's in, so it'll only allow a certain amount of boost per gear.
That's really cool. So you're not spinning your wheels when you're just getting started moving.
Exactly.
That's so weird. I've never heard of that. That's a really cool feature, though. A lot of smart engineering in this car, especially for the early 90s.
Exactly. Toyota, their engineering team was fantastic at their design on this car and the features and what they adapted to with this.
I think I'm starting to get used to being on the wrong side of the car.
It's a new feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy.
Oh, man.
I hope it was enjoyable for you. I really do.
Oh, one of the best days of my life. I mean, how often does a guy get to say he drove a homologation special?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
One of 2 in the U.S.
Yeah, the first in the U.S.
Yes.
That's super rare. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Makes a pretty good howl.
Yeah, it's not bad.